Hey friend, join me tonight to talk about connecting with the community around us. I'm glad you found me. I'm Nola. Go ahead and click subscribe to join my channel for free. So relax, do some deep breathing, and let's go. When we moved to South Minneapolis at the end of November of 25, some people who love me had a lot to say about this part of the city. I heard the warnings about the zombie addicts on Franklin. People told me I shouldn't move here, that it wasn't safe, and that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But once I actually got here, I realized something different. I found myself surrounded by warm, steady people, the kind of neighbors who look out their windows when something sounds off, who take their neighbors' garbages to the curb on trash day, who wave even though they don't know your name yet. It wasn't what people described to me. It was better. And honestly, I wouldn't even be here without the land trust. They helped me with the down payment, helped me secure a loan, helped me buy a home that's worth way more than I paid. Something I never thought I'd have as someone who is lower income and just trying to get stable. They don't just help me buy the house, they help me buy a future. Now that I'm here, I keep thinking about how we used to know our neighbors in the 90s, how community wasn't something you had to schedule or define. It just existed, and I want that again. I want to build that on this little cul-de-sac with the people who live around me now. I want us to get back to something real. And that feeling, that longing for actual neighborly love, hit even harder when I learned that a Minneapolis woman, Renee Good, lost her life just a few blocks from here, down on Portland and 33rd. That moment changed the way we understand what community really means. Minneapolis has always been a city of neighborhoods, little pockets of identity, each with its own rhythm, its own struggles, its own pride. You can feel it when you walk through places like Phillips, Powderhorn, Ventura Village, or Whittier. These aren't just grid lines on a map. They're living, breathing communities that have been shaped by waves of people over more than a century. Minneapolis grew fast in the late 1800s and early 1900s, first with Scandinavian immigrants, then with Black families moving north during the Great Migration, then with indigenous families who had always been here, and later with East African, Somali, Hmong, Mexican, and Central American communities who brought whole new layers of culture, food, language, and art. And that's the thing about this city. Every neighborhood is a collage, a patchwork, a remix of everyone who's ever lived here. Minneapolis is one of those rare cities where art isn't just something you go see, it's something you live inside of. You can't walk more than a block without seeing a mural, a sculpture, a community garden, a painted utility box, or a little handmade sign that someone stuck in their yard because they wanted the world to feel a tiny bit softer. Neighborhoods like Powderhorn and Longfellow are covered in murals that tell stories of migration, resistance, joy, grief, and survival. Phillips has community art centers, indigenous galleries, Somali-owned studios, and murals that honor people who shaped the neighborhood long before the city ever paid attention. And the thing about Minneapolis art, it's not fancy. It's not pretentious. It's not locked behind museum doors. It's public, accessible, everywhere. and it's for everyone. It's the kind of art that says, this is who we are. This is what we've lived through. This is what we're still fighting for. Every Minneapolis neighborhood has its own story. Phillips, one of the most diverse neighborhoods in the state, shaped by immigration, activism, and decades of community organization. Powderhorn, known for its park, its festivals, its artists, and its long tradition of neighbors showing up for each other. Ventura Village, a neighborhood built on indigenous history, community gardens, and grassroots leadership. Cedar Riverside, the heart of Somali culture in Minnesota, full of music, food, and multilingual life. Whittier, a home to Eat Street, immigrant-owned restaurants, and long history of cultural blending. These neighborhoods didn't just happen, they were built by people who cared enough to stay, to fight, to create, to rebuild after loss, and to keep showing up even when the city didn't show up for them. Here's the part people forget. Community safety doesn't start with police. It starts with people. When neighbors know each other, even just a little, everything changes. People look out for each other. They notice when something's off. They check in when someone hasn't been seen in a while. They bring in packages. They share information. They build trust. They create a sense of belonging that makes violence less likely. Sociologists call this collective efficiency. The idea that a neighborhood becomes safer when people feel connected and responsible for one another. And Minneapolis has seen this firsthand. Blocks where neighbors talk, organize, garden together, host little events, or even just wave from their porches. Those blocks have lower crime, stronger relationships, and better outcomes for kids and families. It's not magic. It's not complicated. It's just people being people. And that someone can be you. It can be anyone. It can be all of us. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be organized. It doesn't have to look like the 90s. It just has to be real. Because community isn't something we inherit. It's something we build. And we build it in tiny, ordinary moments. A wave, a conversation, a shared shovel in the winter, a hey, I saw your light was on late. You good? And the wild thing is, once one person starts, it spreads. People soften. People open up. People remember that they're not alone. And suddenly, a block that felt cold or disconnected starts to feel like a place again, a home, a little ecosystem of humans who actually see each other. It can be anyone who starts that. It can be all of us. And honestly, it has to be all of us. Because nobody's coming to save our neighborhoods. Nobody's coming to magically restore the sense of connection we lost somewhere along the way. We have to do that ourselves, neighbor by neighbor, block by block, moment by moment. And the beautiful part is, we can. We don't have to wait for permission to start building that kind of community again. Nobody's going to knock on our door and hand us a perfectly functioning neighborhood. That's not how this works. That's not how it's ever worked. Community is something we create on purpose, with intention, with tiny acts of courage, And yeah, it takes courage to say hello first. It takes courage to step outside your comfort zone. It takes courage to care in a world that keeps telling us to mind our business and stay in our lane. But here's the truth. The lane is imaginary. The distance between us is imaginary. The idea that we're safer when we isolate is imaginary. We're safer when we're connected. We are stronger when we're connected. We are human when we are connected. And I know it sounds simple, almost too simple, but it really can start with one person, one neighbor deciding, I'm going to be the one who waves first. I'm going to be the one who checks in. I'm going to be the one who learns the names on this block. Because when one person does it, it gives everyone else permission to do it too. It softens the whole street. It shifts the energy. It reminds people that they're not just surviving here. They're living here. They're part of something. And that's the part that gets me. It really can be anyone who starts it. It can be the shy neighbor, the busy neighbor, the new neighbor, the tired neighbor, the neighbor who's been here for 30 years, the neighbor who just moved in at the end of November and is still figuring out where the good grocery store is. It can be all of us, and honestly, like I said, it has to be all of us. Because the world is loud right now. People are hurting. People are disconnected. People are scared. And the only thing that has ever healed that, the only thing that's ever worked, is people choosing each other. Not in big, dramatic, movie moment ways. In small, everyday ways. In ways that don't make headlines, but make a difference. And you have the power, the literal power, to make your corner of the world softer, safer, kinder, and more connected. Not someday, not when you have more time, not when you feel more confident, right now, today, with whatever you've got. Because community isn't built by perfect people. It's built by present people. And look, I'm not saying any of this because I think I have it figured out. I don't. I'm still new here. I'm still learning the rhythms of this city. Still figuring out which streets feel like home and which ones I'm still getting used to. I'm still meeting the people who live around me and remembering names, still waving even when I'm not sure if they recognize me. But that's the point. You don't have to be an expert in the community to build one. You don't have to be the loudest person on the block or the most outgoing or the most confident. You just have to be willing to try, willing to care, willing to be seen. Because the truth is, every neighborhood, mine, yours, all of them, are full of people who are waiting for someone else to make the first move, waiting for someone else to break the ice, waiting for someone else to say, hey, I'm here. I live here. I want this place to feel like something. And maybe that someone is you. Maybe it's been you this whole time, and you just needed someone to say it out loud. You don't have to host a block party. You don't have to start a committee. You don't have to fix the whole world. You just have to show up in the smallest, most human ways. A wave, a hello, a how's your day going? Let me know if you ever need anything. Because those tiny moments, they stack, they build, they accumulate into something real, something that feels like safety, something that feels like belonging, something that feels like the neighborhoods we grew up in, the ones where people knew each other, where kids could run around, where you felt held even if nobody said it out loud. And I know the world feels heavy right now. I know people are tired. I know trust is low. I know fear is loud. But connection is louder. It always has been, and it always will be. And if you're listening to this, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not too late. You are not too awkward. You're not too busy. You're not too new. You're not too anything. You're exactly the kind of person who can help rebuild what we've lost because you care enough to be here, listening, thinking about it, imagining something better. And that's all community ever needed. People who care enough to imagine something better. So let's imagine it together. Let's build it together. Let's bring back the kind of neighborly love that doesn't just make a block feel nicer. It makes it safer, stronger, softer, and more alive. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. And real starts with you. So here's where all of this lands. Community isn't something we wait for. It's something we create. Slowly, gently, intentionally. In the tiny moments that don't look like much until you look back and realize they changed everything. And you don't have to overhaul your whole personality to be a good neighbor. You don't have to host a block party or become the unofficial mayor of your street. You just have to show up in small, human ways that let people know you're friendly, you're present, and you're paying attention. Here are a few real-life ways to make your neighbors feel safe, seen, and welcome. Wave first. Even if it feels awkward, a simple wave is the universal. I come in peace. Learn one name at a time, not the whole block, just one person. Names build trust. Keep your porch light warm. Literally, light signals safety and presence. Check in without being nosy. Hey, I noticed your trash cans were still out. Everything good? Share something small, a shovel, a cup of sugar, a spare tomato from your garden. Okay, last bit. We don't rebuild neighborhoods with grand gestures. We rebuild them with presence, with softness, with consistency, with courage to care in a world that keeps telling us not to. And if nobody's told you this lately, you matter to your block, you matter to your building, you matter to the people who live within shouting distance of your front door. You are part of the ecosystem, and the ecosystem is better because you're in it. Thanks for being here. Don't forget your free subscription to the channel before you head out. And with love, have the day you deserve.